Test, test. Test, test. All right. We're going to go ahead and get our programming started. If we could get you guys all to pay attention. We're running a little bit behind on the food schedule, so we're just going to go ahead and get started while the desserts are still being plated, I'm sure. Before we begin with our award presentations, I just want to give a big thank you to Hasty Awards. They've had a long time partnership and sponsorship of NISCA and have provided all these amazing awards for us tonight. So round of applause for Hasty Awards, please. I also want to ask all of you coaches in the room for help. In order to give these awards to all of the wonderful coaches in our sports, we need to know about them. We don't know all of the coaches in the country. So if you know coaches who meet any of the descriptions for these awards, please send them our way. But also all of you, please input your resumes into our system. The link is on the website. It's also in every e-blast. And for those of you who haven't updated your resume in a while, a lot of these awards have a number of years in NISCA component. So please update your resume, even if nothing big has happened in your career since then, because it helps us catch those years of membership. So please help us out with that. The first award that we're going to present tonight is the David H. Robertson Award. It is an award for excellence in coaching. It is presented to any coach who has won 5 state titles as a swim coach or as a water polo coach, or if a diving coach has coached 4 different individuals to a state title, they can also win this award. This is the only award that doesn't need any committee because it's pretty straightforward. Yes or no, they meet those requirements. And this year we have 6 different applicants that put in their application for the award and are being awarded, one of which is here with us today. But if any of you know anybody who meets those qualifications, please have them fill out the application for this award. So this year's awardees, Brendan Heller from Greenwich High School in Greenwich, Connecticut, Bruce Bove from Shawnee Mission South High School in Overland Park, Kansas, Wiley Wright from Shawnee Mission East High School in Prairie Village, Kansas, Steve Hugo from Mason City High School in Mason City, Iowa, and Daniel McBride from St. Anthony's High School in South Huntington, New York. Those are the 5 who are not here with us. And here with us this evening, from Dexter, Michigan, Dexter High School, Michael McHugh. All right, thank you. Up next, Tom Hudson.
To present our Life Member Award tonight, I'd like to introduce Arvel McElroy.
Okay, I am not going to go through all of the accolades and all of the things that Peter did as a member of NISCA, because you can read that in the program. But I do want to talk a little bit about Peter and my memories of Peter. In the early years when I first came to NISCA, I didn't know anybody. And Pete and his roommate, Walter, who was the treasurer at the time, Walter Suski, took me under their wing and had me room with them and took me here, there, and everywhere else. And at the time, Pete was the All-America chair. And that meant at the time that he did all sports. He did all of the printing of the certificates in his office at Great Neck North. So when we went, Mark Onstadt and several of us went to visit for NISCA one year, we saw the office, we saw the printer that he used and so forth. And, that was quite remarkable at the time. He was president-elect. He was president. And while he was president, he kind of broke the mold. He got us involved in something called our Kids Initiative, which no longer exists, but it was talking about kids in sports. He started better communication with United States Swimming. such that after the Beijing Olympics, the executive board was invited to attend the Golden Goggles in New York City. And we got to spend our time with the Olympians and so forth. He got involved. He also worked with us to improve relations with the Hall of Fame. And then he hosted NISCA in Long Island at Nassau County at the pool there as well. He was a recipient of the Paragon Award for competitive swimming, as well as other accolades that you'd read. But the important things are, Pete was a groomsman at my wedding 25 years ago. And when Pete came to Kansas City, he had never had a Long Island iced tea. And so my son's godparents took us out to the Cheesecake Factory the night before the wedding, and he had his first Long Island iced tea. And we just thought that was kind of humorous, coming from the fact that he lived in Long Island. But those were the fun things. Pete would take and give you the shirt off his back if that's what you needed. You know, it's difficult because in September I went to New York, because he lost his wife. But the sad thing was, he was in the hospital as well. And they'd been separated for months until the last week of her life. I was glad that I went because he passed away the week after. He was a remarkable man. And when I left, Sandy Searcy from the Rules Committee came into New York the next day because he meant that much to her and the National Federation representing NISCA for the Rules Committee. So it's my honor tonight to give this award to his youngest son, one of his swimmers, Danny Hugo. Danny, on behalf of NISCA and all the memories that your father created, we award this to you.
I'm not much for words like my father was, but this would have meant the world to him. So thank you, everybody.
We'll begin with our Outstanding Service Awards, and doing our first introduction this evening is Ian Kobus.
Everybody hear me? We're okay that way? My condolences to the Hugo family. Peter did mean a lot to the organization. Hopefully, like to lighten things up here, maybe a little bit. So, hello, good evening. Growing up in the Midwest, I spent a lot of time in the back seat of a Mercury station wagon. On those trips, my dad loved listening to the radio, not music, talk radio. And on those car adventures, one of the highlights there was we would always listen to Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story. So looking back, that's probably the best way to describe Dave Brinks, because every time you thought you knew the story, there was always another chapter, always another adventure, an unbelievable tale waiting around the corner. And if you spent any time on the pool deck with Dave, you knew exactly, or know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd like to start where we all start. Before the meet started, before the first diver climbed on the board, before the officials checked diving lists, Dave would make his rounds. And diving coaches, you know exactly what's coming next. He'd walk over, stick out his hand, flash a grin, and remind everybody that he was number one. Well, maybe not number one. It was all part of the routine, part of the icebreaker, part comedy act, and part a reminder to not take things so serious with everything with competition. We're still supposed to have fun. This past winter felt quite different. For the first time in more than 40 years, boys swimming and diving in the West Michigan area happened without Dave Brinks standing on the pool deck at Granville. And honestly, it didn't feel right. But then again, it did. Because Dave and his wife, Christy, finally decided to do what every Michigan coach dreams about in January, spending more time in Florida. And while he may have been hundreds of miles away, Dave was really never too far from the pool deck. There was always a weekly phone call, sometimes daily. He'd check in about the season, ask about how the conference was shaping up, and wanted to hear the latest pool deck happenings. Then, without fail, he'd move on to really important topics. He'd always ask about my family, ask about my son Andrew, my daughter Lila, and my wife Julie. And then he'd always have a ringer in there, and he always wanted to share with me, hey, have you heard about this new margarita mix that I found? It's really good. Those conversations kind of tell you everything you need to know about Dave. Diving mattered, people mattered more. Now, if you ever ask Dave how he got into coaching, make sure you've got some time, and preferably 2 or 3 beers, because it's a story, a really long story. Long story short is that sports were always part of Dave's life. He played football, baseball, and somewhere along the way he discovered diving, a sport that would ultimately shape the course of his life. Diving opened doors for Dave. It led him to Jolly Roger Pool, Grand Rapids JC, Western Michigan, and then the phone call came from the legend Bill Powell at Western Kentucky. That one phone call changed everything, because in Bowling Green, Kentucky, Dave met Christy, the best recruiting victory of his life. They married, started a family, and began a partnership that would support one of the most remarkable coaching careers the sport has ever seen. For nearly a half century, Dave has coached divers at Granville, Hudsonville, Forest Hills, countless summer programs, as well as colleges and universities. His athletes knew him as a teacher, as a mentor, occasionally a mild source of terror standing next to the board. Dave could spot a bad hurdle from a long way away. He could identify sloppy entries like nobody else can. And somehow, after pointing out these mistakes, he would still let you know how much he believed in you and how capable you were to do something great. It's a rare gift. But the real reason we're celebrating Dave tonight isn't because of what he's accomplished as a coach. It's because of who he is as a person. Behind every practice, bus ride, every championship, and every Hall of Fame honor has been his wife, Christy. She has been his partner through early mornings, late nights, weekends at the pool, and decades of supporting young athletes who weren't her own. The Brinks family didn't just share Dave with diving community. They gave him to us, and we're all better because of it. His daughters, Molly, Abby, and Jesse, and his 5 grandsons have always been his pride and joy. Anyone that knows Dave, that no coaching accomplishment ever made him smile quite as much about than his family does. Well, maybe a Tigers playoff run, or Michigan State football victory, or a Michigan State basketball win, but it's close. Because if you ever stand next to Dave on a meet day, you know that there are 3 topics guaranteed to come up: diving, the Tigers, and Michigan State athletics. Not necessarily in that order. What makes Dave special is that his love for family, sports, and coaching has never existed in separate compartments. It's all connected. The lessons he taught on the diving board: discipline, Resilience, humility, perseverance are the same lessons he lived every day. And that's why his legacy will last, because championships fade, records get broken, banners eventually collect dust, but people never forget how you make them feel. And Dave Brinks has spent a lifetime making people feel valued, supported, capable, more than they ever would imagine. His legacy isn't found in a trophy case. It's found in generations of athletes, coaches, friends, family members whose lives are better because they know him. Tonight, we celebrate a legendary coach, but more importantly, we celebrate a devoted husband, proud father, loyal friend, state of Michigan sports fanatic, and one of the finest people our sport has ever known. Coach Brinks, thank you for all the lessons, the laughs, the stories, the phone calls, and yes, even the finger. It is my honor to share with you this evening and congratulate you on your NISCA Outstanding Service Award. And to Christy, Molly, John, Abby, Mike, Jesse, Chase, Brecken, Grayson, Keelan, and Bennett, thank you for sharing them with us. Congratulations, Coach. Job well done.
Oh, I'm glad I'm short. I don't have to reach. I probably should say thank you and sit down after that fantastic introduction. It's going downhill from here. I cannot tell you how important it is for me to say I wish everybody here had the opportunity to listen to something like that and to walk from the chair you're in to where I am right now and feel the energy that's running through my body. It's amazing. Enough of it is running through there so that I could light up West Michigan for the next 2 months. Thank you, Ian. And I will come back to Mr. Kobus if you don't mind. I would like to say a couple of things. One, I would like to congratulate the other recipients of their awards this evening. If they're half as stoked up as I am right now, it's, I'm sure, over the top. It's rather amazing. What I'd like to say about Ian Kobus is we've worked for probably 16 to 18 years off and on, and his stability, not only with the swim program, but with the aquatics program at Hudsonville has been outstanding. And yes, we're supposed to follow compliments with compliments, and that's fine. But sometimes they need to be said because they're true. And I've often wondered if I'd ever run into anybody that I would trust with my inner thoughts, my secrets about my family, and that I could trust somebody to not say anything because it wasn't supposed to be said. I found him, Ian Kobus, about 15 or 16 years ago. I thank him beyond words on how he has led the swim program and also taught me along the way. Thank you very, very much. There is one thing that happens when you reach a certain level, either age or you are been around for a number of years with a program, and you look back, and if you've had some success, which you have read, I'm sure, that I did, but I'm not looking to blow smoke in my own ears. What I'm trying to say is that when I look back, I realize You can't do it alone. You can't. No matter how hard you try, there's always somebody there that is helping you. If I could take a few minutes to do that and to tell you those people, it's not very long, but certainly I would be remiss if I didn't start with the boss of the family, and I say that with jest. My wife, Christy. Truth be told, she should be the one up here getting the award. She had to put up with me for 51 years, and bless her heart. But she took an opportunity when I was gone to take the three girls to bring them to where they had to go, feed them, make sure their homework was done, without even blinking an eye about it. And that allowed me to do what my passion was, and that was to coach diving. Three girls, which you've heard: Molly, Abby, Jessie, in that birth order. Thank you for your patience. I know it wasn't fun coming home when Dad's divers didn't do well. Very, very conveniently, oh, I have to do homework, or there's a good TV program on. So I can't tell you, girls, how much it meant to me that you understood that Dad had to do what he was doing, and you never complained. John and Mike, my son-in-laws, I want to say that I appreciate you guys pretending that you really enjoyed the story for the 10th time, okay? And it really is head shaking that they just continue to smile and drink their beer. The last person that I would like to give a quick shout out to is Rob DeMuth. He's not here this evening, or I haven't seen him. He's just been a young man that's been around since I started coaching at Forest Hills. Just a plain nice guy. And he's always been there if I needed anybody to talk to. I thank him for that. What I'd like to finish up on tonight is a bit of a story, and I've had this on my head forever, and I didn't and haven't been able to find a venue to vent. So it's not dirty. It's not. And yeah, although I could probably tell some jokes anyway. We have, when I first started coaching many moons ago, I coached, frankly, afraid that I wasn't going to be good enough, and that in my mind I had to win. I had to win. That's all. If I didn't win, I knew that the administration would fire me. I just knew. Well, you can see two or three of them sitting around, and we're not winning, and the divers aren't winning, and they go, "Boy, we really hired a dud this time, didn't we?" Or if it wasn't the administration that would do it, it would be the parents, the lovely parents. And what happened as some years passed, Granville had an alumni meet, and they would introduce the swimmers, have them take a bow and sit down. Prior to that meet starting on this alumni meet, there's a young man, one of my divers, not the best diver I ever had, not the worst either, but his name was Josh Pipe, which means nothing to anybody here, and that's fine. But he came down to the deck. We shook hands. I said, "Josh, it's great to see you. What have you been doing?" He said, "It's great to see you too, Coach." And I said, "Hey, how's your folks?" And I'm like, and then he's looking at me kind of wild, and I'm like, "Josh, what's going on?" He said, "I just got my master's in psychology, Coach." And I'm like, "Okay, that's nice." And He goes, no. He said, I got my master's in psychology. This is where I lose it a little bit. Because of what you taught me when I was diving for you. And I'm like, and I said, really? He said, yeah, remember all those things you used to tell us? Keep banging, keep working at it. If it's not going well, just keep diving, and it'll get better. It will. And he said, I just wanted to let you know that you were a big help in my life. Right then, we go back to the start of this story, and I said I was afraid to win, or afraid to lose, excuse me. And right there, I knew that the regionals, the state meet, the conference meet, they're important, and they are. But what we are doing, what I didn't realize I was doing, is teaching these young men and women to be better people. And that's what this is about. And I appreciate very much the opportunity to get that off my chest. With that, I would very much like to say I am amazingly humbled by this award for the programs that I've been allowed to coach. This award is really for them, not for me, because they did all the work. All I did was yell at them. I thank NISCA. I thank MISCA for allowing me to be nominated here. And on that, again, I'm deeply humbled and much, much appreciative. Thank you.
Presenting our next Outstanding Service Award will be Jesse Snelson.
Okay, you guys are going to have to forgive me. I'm like Coach Hoyt. I'm not a very good public speaker, so I'm going to have to read mine. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here to share this special occasion. Tonight, we come to honor and celebrate individuals whose talent, determination, and passion have made a meaningful impact. It is my privilege to recognize the outstanding contributions and achievements that Mark Jedow has made for the swimming world during his 26 years as a high school swim coach. You know Mark for his leadership roles in NISCA, president, past president, Zone 6 chair, girls swimming All-American chair, and the para-swimming All-American chair. He also has had a huge leadership role in the state of Texas, serving as the TISCA president, vice president, secretary, and as a regional representative for about 16 years. During the course of his career, Mark Jedow has coached a national public school record holder. He's coached 3 girls state championship teams, 3 runner-up state teams, 14 top 10 finishes at state teams, and 14 individual gold medalists at state, plus 9 gold medal relays. Mark has coached 67 NISCA All-American performances and has over 85 All-Texas state team selections. As a club coach, now right about here, I got to tell you, once Mark shared his resume with me when he was interested in a job, and he wanted a second opinion on how it looked. And after reading it, I wondered what the hell I've been doing all my life. And I spent the next few weeks feeling very inadequate. And I told him he'd have to cut it down to 1 page. Okay, as a club coach, let's just say that he's had a USA Swimming National Championship and Olympic trial qualifiers, USA Swimming Junior National Team members, and has attended the European Junior Championships, FINA World Youth Swimming Championship, and has coached a wonderful young lady, Miss Carly Cronk, who is a deaf world record holder. All right, let's move on. He's been a district coach of the year 14 times or so, regional coach of the year 15 times, and did I mention he's an NISCA level 5 high school and a level 4 club coach. Mark's passion for all things aquatics has allowed those around him to benefit from his knowledge and enthusiasm for all of our sports. He has coached thousands of kids over the years and touched many lives while teaching ethics and sportsmanship, and as well as being how to be a fantastic human being. He has championed our profession and helped many a new coach and old coaches alike. I've stolen many of set from Mark Jedow. He will discuss drills, high-tech team manager, season plans, nutrition, how to handle parents, good and bad, officials, good and bad, and seasons, good and bad. He will tell you where to go to eat on a travel trip with your team, how many chaperones you need, how much yardage to build before a taper, and then discuss taper philosophy prior to state. He can also talk and coach water polo. Please, let's honor Mark Jedow.
All right. You know, when I finally first was told I was going to be receiving this award, I was really very humbled. And Jesse, thank you for that amazing introduction. I'm trying to think about how I wanted to approach the speech. I've written it probably 6 times over the last year and keep changing it. First thing I would like to say is I'd like to thank NISCA for the opportunity to have been a part of this organization, to have the opportunity to lead this organization. And it's with great humility I accept this award. If somebody had asked me, 10 years ago, if I'd ever think I'd be up here on a stage like this, receiving an award at the national level, I just no, I'm just coaching. That's what I love to do. I've had, these kinds of awards were always meant for big dogs. I mean, the people I think of out of Texas was like Lanny Landry, who I got to watch and learn from. He was a leader in Texas swimming. He was a leader here in this organization. And he always coached with amazing passion and amazing humility. And I always admired that. I think maybe in some ways I tried to model some of that down the road. When I first started coaching, I never thought where I was going to be and what I was going to do. This journey took me a long time. I want to kind of tell you guys some about that journey. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of accolades behind it, but that's not why I did this stuff. I didn't do it for the accolades. I did it because I love kids. I've always loved kids. I'm sure a lot of you have this similar path, that you have a love and a passion for working with young men and women. And, I know I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a couple incidents in my past that really kind of pushed me to get into swimming. If you want to look for somebody to blame, the guy sitting over there in the chair, my brother. That skinny guy, when he was about 8 or 9 years old, I want to say, joined Summer League. And I was like, I'm not going to Summer League. I don't want to wear one of those Speedos. There's no jammer. I'm not wearing a Speedo. Well, that little turkey got faster than me in the pool. I couldn't have that. I could not have that. There's no way. My little brother beating me in the water. So next fall, I joined swim team. It wasn't very good. I was really pretty bad. It was terrible. Last guy picked for relays in practice. But my parents, I even thought about quitting. But my parents had a real wonderful philosophy. We couldn't quit any sports or anything mid-season. You had to wait to the end. And so I kept waiting to the end of the season and just kept going and going and going. And I really want to thank my parents for that mindset and philosophy. Stick with it to the end, because then you have the choice if you want to pursue something else, you can. My parents couldn't be here tonight due to my father's health, and I really wish they could be here, and I really miss them a lot. So, give me a second here. My brain's trying to catch up. You know, a lot of, as you coaches know, we make a lot of sacrifices, but we also have our families make a lot of sacrifices too. Our friends sometimes make sacrifices of loved ones, you know, but I often believe that God puts people and opportunities in our path when we kind of need them most. So I'm going to take a moment and recognize some of those others along the way. First, when did I finally figure out I wanted to be a coach? Well, one summer, I was 15 years old. My summer league coach at the time, Lauren Robinson, asked if I could stay and help out with the younger kids. I was like, okay. And I fell in love with it. That one practice got me hooked because I was sharing something I knew, something I didn't even know I had gained. I had gained knowledge and I had gained skills that somebody else needed. And, you know, that joy of that feeling pushed me to want to become a coach. And so I went from being an average kid in the pool to working harder, gave me direction. My grades got better. They were terrible at the time. But my confidence grew. My circle of friends expanded. I mean, us swimmers, we're a special bunch. I mean, think about it. How many people out there could stand going looking down at the bottom of the pool for hours on end? I mean, we all talk about the people now that have Spotify playlists. We all had playlists in our head when we swam. I swam distance a lot. So I had music going in my brain all the time just to keep me going. And then it led to opportunities later on to swim in college. And when I kind of feeling I knew that maybe coaching more in depthly was going to be on down the road is when my college coach asked me if I would run the preseason for him. He was a soccer coach. They doubled up at Wittenberg University. He coached soccer and swim, and his soccer team had made the playoffs, NCAA tourney. So I was like, yeah, I'll run it. And, it was that opportunity to work with my fellow college athletes and teach them what I knew. And some of the freshmen were kind of like, we'll just wait for coach to get back. He'll talk us about stroke work and all the upperclassmen. I'm like, no, you need to listen to Jedow. That's what everybody just called me, was Jedow. I never had a first name in college. Because it'd probably be the only technique work you got. And that's where I really focused my time, is focusing on a stroke technique with kids. After college, went on to get my master's, tried to find a teaching and coaching position in Connecticut at the time. That was the early 90s. There was about 200 applicants for every job, and it was frustrating as all get out to even find any work. I was working part-time as a high school coach, but I really wanted to teach and coach. So I had to take a chance. I was there at this time. My girlfriend at the time, Shannon Danaher, who's actually here today because she's my girlfriend again now, encouraged me to look at opportunities elsewhere. And so I took a chance in Texas. I had an opportunity to go work with the legendary coach Eddie Reese and Jill Strickle at the University of Texas for a summer. And it was so eye-opening. Because, a lot of times when you're a young coach, you're kind of uncertain on the things that you're doing. And one of the things I really enjoyed about being with Coach Reese is he's like, you're on the right path. You're doing the right things. The opportunities are going to come your way. Just to keep sticking with it. And so I did. And it's hard to believe, past 40 years, I've been kind of dedicated to this sport. And it isn't easy on the family life, and I think some of you probably as coaches, if you have kids, did you find that when you had kids, it changed how you coached? I found out very early on when I would bring my kids to practice, my athletes were always asking, hey coach, when are you going to bring your kids around practice again? I didn't yell so much. I had one in the pouch, one on the little bouncy thing next to me on the deck while I coached, and I guess I wasn't so loud anymore. But it takes a lot, and I'm really happy my children could be here, Ben and Carrie, because they, as children of a coach, sometimes they got to sacrifice a lot on times away, because I missed a lot being a club coach and high school coach. And I can't tell you how proud I am of my kids, how they've grown up. So, other coaches that influenced me along the way, another Texas coach and outstanding award recipient, Bill Walker. He was the first person that gave me an opportunity to actually start looking at beyond just coaching and really looking at leadership in the High School Coaches Association. He got me involved with the NISCA organization, and basically invite me to sit down and go to the exec board meetings before I was even a region rep, just to listen to how the organization operated. And he saw something more in me than just my passion for coaching. He saw something, maybe some leadership abilities, which I didn't know I had. So over time, it's led to, as you heard, opportunities within TISCA, and then later on with NISCA. Dave Johnson, who was another outstanding OSA honoree for NISCA, brought me in as a head group coach. He was one of the ones that encouraged me to get involved with NISCA when we had openings here. And I got a lot of great respect for these guys. This is where I really learned the importance of the relationship between high school and club swimming that we don't see a lot in the country. And we had a fantastic opportunity and a fantastic run in our school district. In a 4-year span, we won 5 state championships with the cooperation that we built between the high school and club programs that we had. You heard probably that, on that thing, that I've done a lot, and I do a lot. I do it because I enjoy it. And I remember a podcast that Kyle was doing that he was talking about, he thought I was kind of insane for all the things that I was doing with all these organizations. And while still teaching full-time and coaching history. But maybe I am a little bit nuts. But I've enjoyed the journey that it's brought me along this way. Now, I've built amazing friendships within the organization, friendships like Jesse. There's for you young guys out there, you learn a lot just sitting on a bar stool, having a beer and sharing a burger. And it's a lot of fun. And and helps you kind of think about how you want to operate as a coach. My motto for my athletes for years on my coach's manual was like, don't do anything stupid. And I didn't realize for a while that I actually had to write a list of what that was, because I had some knuckleheads. But some parting thoughts on this journey. Successful programs out there, you're going to have a strong high school and club program relationship. It doesn't have to be adversarial. We all want the same thing. We want to see our athletes get faster. We want to see them grow and to be outstanding human beings. I want us to keep continuing to promote the aquatic sports at every chance we get. Out there we're fighting for television time. We're fighting for newspaper time. Newspapers are, thing of the past. We need to keep promoting ourselves. Young people, it's okay to fail. Yeah, your best life lessons are going to be learned from failure. And I failed a lot starting off. But always try to see the bigger picture as your role as a coach and as a leader. For some of you young coaches, it's a hard world out there. For some of you, you may become the closest thing to a father or mother some kids may have in their lives. That's an unfortunate reality that we see a lot these days. Don't be afraid to take chances and change things up in practice. Continue to be a student of the sport. That's one of the things I love about some of the guys that are not even coaching in our organization anymore. They're still going to listen to the talks. They're still like, stay up on things. That's really awesome. Be a lifelong learner of this sport. And don't be afraid to take chances on kids who just want to be a part of your program. At times, Jesse can attest this, I've had 80 kids on my high school team. It was just me and my split personalities running them. And, I had the opportunity to kind of look back. I'm getting ready to make a big move across the country. And I came across some of the letters that kids have written to me over the years. And the most touching ones that I've got are the ones that are from kids that just gave a chance to be a part of something. The kids need a place. And our sport fills that void. There's always a way to find room for just one more kid in your team who probably really just needs that chance and opportunity to belong to something. Don't be afraid to ask for help. One thing that I'm a big movie buff and I love history. My favorite film really is Forrest Gump. And there's a lot of truth to some of the lines in life is like box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. And that's the way it is with swimming. We don't know what we're going to get every day and every year. We set, a set schedule and practice, but you always got to be prepared for something else. So I wanted to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, NISCA, the Scholastic. I've enjoyed being a part of this organization. And for me, I don't look at this as like end of my coaching. I'm still coaching. I love coaching. And I'm going to continue to coach. But thank you again for this honor, and I'll be seeing you around the pool.
You'll see in your program, Tom Madura would be our next awardee, but he wasn't able to make it. So please read his bio. He's had a great career and very deserving of this award. It is going to be my pleasure this evening to present my good friend, Phil Rehard, with an Outstanding Service Award. I first met Phil when I served as the head coach for Team Wyoming at a zone meet in Minnesota. Phil was 12 years old, and he made an immediate impact on our team, and I just noticed he stood out. Over the years, I watched Phil rewrite the record books year after year in Wyoming age group swimming, and later at Rollins High School in Rollins, Wyoming, where he achieved NISCA All-American honors, was a multiple-time state champion and a junior national qualifier. I continue to follow Phil's career while he was swimming at the University of Wyoming. That's located in my hometown of Laramie. So I get to follow a lot of those guys, and I get an opportunity, and this is something that's made my program better, is to recruit these guys that stand out to me to help me with my team. So we hired Phil at Laramie Swim Club, and then right away he moved up to help me on the high school team, spent several seasons there, and I knew it would happen. The phone started ringing. We need a coach here. We need a coach there. Well, our biggest rival in the state is Campbell County High School, and they called, and I'm like, oh God, they want Phil. So Phil went there, and I thought it was going to be a real problem, and it was, because he immediately made an impact there, started winning multiple All-Americans. He's had a junior national champion, just a tremendous coach, and he built a tremendous program. So we were fierce rivals on the pool deck, but we maintained a great friendship throughout this whole time, and a real mutual respect for each other. Phil's career wasn't just about being a successful coach. It was also about service, and this is called the Outstanding Service Award for a reason. Phil was a natural leader in the state of Wyoming. Right away, he assumed the roles as our president for the Wyoming Swim Coaches Association. He also served in USA Swimming role as the general chair of the state of Wyoming for, I think, at least 4 years. And that job is absolutely thankless. And Phil did it, and did a phenomenal job throughout all those years. He also serves as the aquatics director in Campbell County. They just built a $40 million 50-meter facility under his leadership. The guy's a natural. He's continually working hard to improve the sport. and improve the sport, especially in the state of Wyoming. So it's my pleasure tonight to present a 2026 NISCA Outstanding Service Award to my good friend, Coach Phil Rehard.
Oh, wow. I just feel honored to be standing up here tonight with all these great coaches, great people that have been in aquatics in the swimming community for many, many years. I feel like I'm way too young to be standing up here. Geez, there's lots of old dudes in this room. And I've been to this convention a few times, and it's mostly old dudes. It is. I'm getting older, but I don't feel like an old dude yet. First and foremost, I want to thank my wife, Tara, who's here tonight. As some of the other recipients of awards tonight have said, swimming coaching is a long, hard journey, especially for the family. And having a wife and a family that supports what you're out there doing every single day is really special, and not everyone gets that. I've been able to have that for 25 years and been able to work towards achieving those great swimming goals on the pool deck, which takes hour after hour after hour. I want to thank Mr. Hudson, who gave me a great introduction tonight. He was a great mentor to me, still is. And like he said, we have been fierce rivals on the pool deck, but great friends off that pool deck. And I appreciate that and couldn't ask for anything more from another great leader and another great coach who's actually going to be getting an award tonight. I don't have a whole lot more to say other than that. I appreciate and have a great respect for this organization. As Tamara has said, she's the head coach of Laramie High School now, so like I'm a rival with her as well. Like every week we're like great friends off the pool deck, but figuring out how to put a lineup together to beat each other each and every week, which is the fun part of high school swimming. But thanks to this organization, thanks Mr. Hudson, thanks to my family, and I'm not an old dude yet, so hopefully I got lots of more years and maybe might be back up here at another point getting another award. So I appreciate everything that this organization does, the swimming and aquatics community, and thank you all. Thanks.
Our fifth and final Outstanding Service Award presenter will be Amy Runkle and Ellie Runkle.
Hi, good evening. I'm Amy Runkle.
And I'm Ellie Runkle.
I know in a room full of swim coaches, there's probably a few stopwatches floating around. So we're going to go for a state cut and keep this short. We are so proud and honored to introduce Josh Runkle as a recipient of the NISCA Outstanding Service Award. As many of you know, Josh was never a competitive swimmer himself. He grew up playing football and throwing the shot put. He learned the sport under the guidance of his late father, James Runkle, and built his coaching career from there. I often think he could coach almost any sport, except maybe girls' gymnastics, because of his ability to build relationships and ask questions. Josh began as a strength coach at New Trier High School, then moved to Highland Park High School, where he became a teacher and the head coach of the boys and girls swimming program. He also found the time during those years to coach water polo and track. After helping build the program at Highland Park, he became the head coach at Glenbrook North High School and later took on the challenge of succeeding Mark Onstadt as the head coach of the New Trier boys swimming program. No matter where he has coached, Josh's goal has never been just to win, to build a winning team. It's been to build lasting relationships with his swimmers and fellow coaches. One of the things that makes him such a remarkable coach is his humility. He doesn't pretend to have all the answers. Instead, he studies the craft of swimming through constant questions, deep reflection, and the relationships he builds along the way.
My dad is one of the coolest, most awesome people I know. He comes to all my meets and games, whether that means sitting on a hot humid pool deck for 5 hours or standing in the freezing rain for one of my soccer games. He always shows up for me. I never thought I'd actually choose swimming when I was 6, but my dad talked me into it. I definitely wasn't the best, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I remember sitting in the sticky stands at New Trier High School as a little kid, watching the boys swim, thinking how cool they were, and wanting to be just like them.
Above all, Josh has a genuine love for talking with anyone willing to talk swimming, whether that's trading ideas with fellow coaches, swapping stories with former swimmers, or geeking out over technique with anyone who will listen. He has never stopped learning. Even after all these years, he is still asking questions, still studying the sport, still looking for a better way to teach and to coach. That curiosity paired with his genuine care for the people he coaches is what makes him deserving of this award tonight. Congratulations.
I was going to ask Onset to introduce me, but I thought the hug and kiss would be weird. Somebody said something about it's downhill from here. After listening to the last three folks, I'm not sure I can add anything different. Other than a couple thank yous. If I thanked everybody, we'd be here for days on end. So those two especially, and it was your grandfather who talked into swimming. But we'll blame him. NISCA has been huge in my life. Sorry. That sounds. Thanks. The last time I was at this bank was 2009, and I got to give this award to my dad. And I have his ring. So I said I wasn't going to do this, but I want to thank NISCA for this honor. Listening to all you folks tonight and reading the program, it's really humbling being a part of this group. I want to thank Mark for giving me my first opportunity. I want to thank all of you for being here this week. It is truly a pleasure to get together with people who share a passion and people I haven't seen in a while, got to connect with, and people I got to meet for the first time in the last day or so. So it's just been great. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was significantly larger than the last one I had to carry up here, so sorry, I'm a little out of breath. That concludes the Outstanding Service Awards. Our next award is actually going to be a Collegiate Scholastic Award, and this award is presented to a high school coach and a college coach every year. NISCA awards the high school version of this award, and the College Coaches Association awards the college coach. This is available to somebody who has at least 20 years of coaching experience, but whose peers have decided they have made an extreme contribution to interscholastic aquatics. Last year, as a committee, we kicked the head of our committee out of the room so that we could talk about this award. And at least 3 coaches in this room began their coaching careers with this gentleman. This award is going to Tom Hudson this year, and he's going to be presented by his children, Michael, Anna, and Nicholas.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Hudson, and these are my siblings, Mike and Anna.
As many of you already know, Tom's achievements as a coach are nothing short of remarkable. In addition to the many accomplishments listed in the program, he led the Laramie High School boys program for 32 seasons and the girls for 31, winning a total of 21 state championships and compiling a dual meet record of 843 wins.
So some of you guys might know our dad for always wearing shorts, even in the Wyoming winter. How much bourbon he can drink, or maybe even his famous Texas wedge out on the golf course. But tonight we'd like to reflect a bit on how none of this would have been possible without his continued perseverance, dedication, and passion, not only for the sport of swimming, but also for the success of each individual athlete that he coached, including each of us kids.
Even though he spent countless hours poring over times and strategies to make victory for his teams as likely as possible, winning was never all that mattered. What mattered most was that each person who was involved truly felt that they were a valued member of the team, regardless of how many points they might help to score at state.
During his more than 3 decades on deck, our dads always looked out for and brought out the best in people who came through his program. He fostered a strong sense of community and tradition, not only for the athletes, but also for the coaches, families, and friends. If you ever doubt the reach of that community, just try going anywhere in Wyoming with him or around the nation. Someone will stop him within 5 minutes, usually a former swimmer, who was able to pick him out of the crowd because of his calves. Tonight they're covered up though because he is wearing pants for once because it is a special event.
So without further ado, we're happy to introduce our dad, Tom Hudson.
Wow, that was nice. I didn't think I was going to cry, and hopefully I'll stop here in a second. But that was such a great introduction. I was kind of mulling over how I was going to start this, and my kids, they went through a tough childhood. Their mother was their grade school principal and middle school principal. Then they got me as a PE teacher, and all 3 of them swam 4 years. Nick dove. He didn't like to swim that much, but so they were always terrorized by their parents at school, so they were never out of our eye. I'm so proud of what they've become as people now, and love them very much. I also want to announce my daughter Anna is going to have our first grandchild expected in October. I'm going to start by thanking my lovely wife, Margaret. She comes to this NISCA conference almost every year that she can. She puts up with so much for our nearly 40 years that we've been together. Margaret, you're amazing. Thank you. Love you. I'd also like to thank 2 of my sisters who could be here tonight, Peggy Budai and Lisa Jones. Also my sister, and brother-in-law, Marty and Jane Hellenberg. Finally, my good friend Paul Bennett, who coached with me and Phil way back in the day, nearly 30 years ago. Paul's a head coach in Boston now at a small college there, but we've remained good friends, and thank you, Paul, for traveling all this way to be here. I mentioned while I was preparing this speech, I was thinking about what this award really means. It's not just about coaching as much as it is about trying to give back to a sport that has given so much to me. My first NISCA meeting was in 2005 in Minneapolis. I was there to present my high school coach and mentor, Pat Kirk, with an Outstanding Service Award, and I was to receive a David H. Robertson Award. I knew no one else at this conference. I came by myself. I was so impressed when I actually met David H. Robertson, who I was getting the award that was named after him. One of the first people that I met knew. Super welcoming, great guy. I also met a guy named Bill Stetson, who was a long time awards chairperson, and that's the position I have now. They were both so welcoming, and that's what NISCA really has been all about for me. Some of the other people that I met early on were Mike Torrey, Eric Talsma, Greg Phil. These guys are all from the great state of Michigan. Mike Torrey welcomed me right away by grilling me constantly about what it's like to coach in a small town in Wyoming. It felt like a job interview. He wanted to know how big my teams were, how fast they were, what is our training regimen, have I ever coached an All-American? He was interviewing me, I think, to see if I was worthy to hang out with those guys. And I must have passed the test because I have made dear friends with so many of these people, these legendary coaches from the state of Michigan. And I consider myself an honorary Michigander. I started in the sport of swimming in the early 1970s in Sheridan, Wyoming, and I was a slow starter. My sisters here can attest to that. My mom made them come to all the swim meets, and I was one of those guys that when I first started, I would get the courtesy clap at the end of the 200 IM that took me almost 5 minutes, and they put up with all that. So it was rough, but I slowly improved over the years. Ended up earning a scholarship to swim at the University of Wyoming, where I competed for 4 years. Swimming was my identity. That's what I was. I was a swimmer. When I finished my 4 years of school, I sort of got lost. I didn't really know what was going on. Like, I didn't know the direction I wanted to take in my life. And this is obviously before I met Margaret. But I did find out through coaching some summer club that I really loved coaching swimming. And so I needed to finish college. I often joke around that my senior year of college was the 5 longest years of my life. And I get tons of crap from all my friends that, saying lots of guys go to college for 8 years. They're called doctors. But I got through it, and I began my coaching career at Laramie High School, where I spent the next 34 years of my life. I loved coaching and the interactions and developing relationships with so many swimmers, coaches, parents, officials. I just felt truly blessed to have that opportunity to coach there. My involvement in NISCA has been just as important to me. Being welcomed in those early years by Stetson and Robertson, being able to work with such great people, and I'm going to name a few, and I know I'm going to leave some out, but these people mean a lot to me, and they've been a big part of my NISCA journey. Tamara, Eve Julian, Mark Onstadt, Arvil, Marnie Shirley, Brad Jones, Ian Cobes, Michael McHugh, Darren Miller, so many others. I already mentioned Talsma and Torrey, just impactful people in my life. And I thank you. I feel like NISCA is kind of back on the rise. We sort of went through some tough times through COVID. Our numbers dipped, Seeing the numbers back here at this conference makes me very happy. I think we're on the right track. Thank you, NISCA, so much for giving me this award. I'm humbled and honored, and I look forward to many more conferences in the future. Thank you. Okay, I have one announcement. After this award is presented, this is our final award, the Hall of Fame award. If we could get all the awardees, within about 5 minutes after the banquet's over, to gather over here under the NISCA sign by the awards table so we can get some pictures of everyone for the journal. So if we could do that within 5 or 10 minutes after the banquet, that would be fantastic. Our final award tonight is our highest award, the NISCA Hall of Fame Award, and it will be presented tonight by Steve Hoyt.
Hello, my name is Steve Hoyt. First, I'd like to congratulate all the award winners. It's quite impressive to be amongst the greatest coaches in the sport. I've been married to Susie for 35 years. We have 3 boys together, Stevie, Sam, and Spencer. I was addressing this same group just a little while ago in 2022 in Atlanta, Georgia, when Susie was awarded the Outstanding Service Award. Back then, I spoke about how I attended New Trier High School, where the legendary coach David H. Robertson went to school. The Hoyt and Robertson families were actually family friends. And my brother Bill is still friends with David Jr. Now there are a few New Trier people here today, Josh Runkle and Mark Onstad as well. I also spoke back then about the amazing accomplishments that Susie has produced over 36 years with the boys swimming team at Glastonbury High School, along with 23 years with the girls team. She's added to her resume since 2022, as she now has 405 dual meet wins with the boys and 208 dual meet wins with the girls, which puts her in that lofty group of over 600 wins with 613. Connecticut's an interesting state for swimming. There are numerous teams from the highly affluent Fairfield County that dominate most of the state meets. Greenwich High School is one such team that seems to have a ownership of all the state titles. Glastonbury has made some modest inroads in the recent years, as Susie's teams have won 3 out of the last 4 Class LL runner-ups. I thought pretty hard about what to say today that I didn't say back in 2022 at the Outstanding Service Award. I kept coming back to the same things over and over again, though. The strong resume of wins, awards, Coach of the Years, they're all great and they should be admired, but it's really about how she coaches and how she connects to all her athletes. Simply said, she is the real deal. She's humble beyond measure. Sportsmanship is paramount attribute of all her teams. She has a tremendous impact on all the kids that pass through her doors and teaches them much more about life than actual stroke technique. The number of former athletes that return to tell Susie what a profound impact she's had on them is a testament to how she coaches. Without further ado, I'd like to present Glastonbury head coach, swimming coach Susie Hoyt for the NISCA Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm deeply honored and truly humbled to stand before you tonight. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame is something I truly never imagined. To be recognized this way in a sport that has shaped so much of my life is both meaningful and a bit overwhelming. When I first stepped onto the pool deck all those years ago, I was just hoping to run a decent practice, remember everyone's names, and maybe, just maybe, get everyone out of the water on time. And those who know me well know that that last part is still somewhat of a stretch. Swimming is a tough sport. It asks a lot of young athletes, a long season with long practices, staring at the black line at the bottom of the pool for hours. And somehow, year after year, these athletes show up, ready to work, ready to support each other, ready to chase something bigger than themselves. To have been a part of that environment has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. But standing here tonight, I know this honor is not mine alone. While my name may be the one on this award, it truly represents the efforts of so many others who shared this journey with me. First and foremost, I want to thank my husband, Steve. Steve, you've lived this journey right alongside me. You've endured countless conversations about splits and lineups, sat through meets that seemed to last longer than an entire season, and somehow still showed up with encouragement and perspective when I needed it most. You've been my steady voice, my sounding board, my best fan, my statistician, my newspaper reporter, and occasionally the one to remind me that maybe, just maybe, not every relay needed to be overanalyzed at the dinner table. Thank you for your patience, your humor, your unwavering support. I could not have done this without you. To my children, Stevie, Sam, and Spencer, thank you for growing up with a parent whose second home and yours was a swimming pool. Thank you for sharing me with the sport and with so many swimmers over the years. You grew up knowing that a quick stop at the pool was never quick, that going to the grocery store meant adding an extra 45 minutes to the outing because of all the families that would stop and talk with us, that dinners sometimes revolved around meet schedules and were sometimes found at the concession stand, and that your mom might be cheering just as loudly for someone else's race as for yours. You've shown incredible understanding and pride, and you've reminded me time and again what truly matters. You handled all of this with grace, and I hope you always know how deeply loved and appreciated you are. I am so proud of each one of you. To my parents and my sisters, thank you for always supporting me on this journey and for tolerating the endless requests to go to the pool until I was old enough to go by myself. To my assistant coaches, past and present, thank you for being my partners on the pool deck. You are the unsung heroes of this journey. You brought energy, knowledge, patience, and perspective to every single season. You were there every afternoon and Saturday morning for the tough practices, big meets, and the quiet moments when our swimmer just needed someone to believe in them. You made me a better coach, and more importantly, you made our program stronger, and I am so grateful for each one of you. To the swimming families, thank you. You are the backbone of any program, successful program. You trusted me with your children, supported them through the highs and the lows, volunteered your time, and created an environment where this team could thrive. You cheered in the stiflingly hot stands through twice weekly meets and traveled distances longer than the meet took from start to finish to cheer for your child and our team. Your belief in the value of this experience made all the difference. To the school administration, thank you for believing in our program and in the importance of athletics as part of education. Your support has allowed us to build something meaningful, something that goes beyond wins and losses. You've given us the opportunity to create a culture of excellence, sportsmanship, and pride, and that support has made all the difference. And of course, to the swimmers themselves, to every athlete who ever stood on the blocks, pushed through a tough practice, or supported a teammate, you are the heart of it all. This honor reflects your hard work just as much as anything I've contributed. You showed up on the days when you were tired, when school was overwhelming, when the water felt extra cold, and when the sets felt impossibly long. You pushed yourselves, you supported each other, and you created something special every single day of every single season. Yes, there were records broken and championships won, but what I will remember most are the moments in between. The laughter at practice, the ridiculous team traditions, the way you lifted each other up after tough races, and the way you learned to be part of something bigger than yourselves. You taught me just as much as I ever taught you about resilience, about teamwork, and about finding joy even in the hardest work. Swimming has a way of leaving a mark on you. It builds strength, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It creates bonds that last far beyond high school, far beyond the pool. I feel incredibly lucky to have spent so many years on deck watching all of you grow into capable, compassionate people. NISCA, thank you again for this honor. And thank you to everyone who's been part of this journey, because this recognition truly belongs to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for attending tonight. I thought it was just an absolutely great program, inspirational speeches, and just a great evening. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next year.